Hey guys, this is Brent with 247parts.com, and in this video I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how to level the deck on your John Deere Z300 series Ztrak mower. So let's get started. Real quick, let's talk about tools we're going to need to do this leveling of this deck. So what we're going to need is our deck leveling gauge. We're also going to need a tire pressure gauge. We're going to need an 18mm wrench, a 17mm wrench, and a 16mm wrench. So our first step is going to be making sure that we are parked on a level surface to make sure that we get the best reading when we're checking the levelness of this deck. But before we do that, we want to make sure that we have our front tires in the drive position. So making sure that they are in the position as you see here. Then next we're going to want to make sure and check all of our tire pressures all the way around to make sure that they are to spec. On this Z365R specifically, we're looking for 15 in the front, 10 in the rear, and this is very important to make sure that our tire pressures are correct, to make sure that our reading on our gauge is correct as well. So next step here will be changing our height position to the position that we want to measure at. So over there on our height adjustment, I have it set at 3. So that way when we take our reading with our deck leveling gauge, we're looking for a reading of 3. So to do that, what we're going to do first is go from side to side. So we'll start over here on the left-hand side, and what we'll do is reach underneath, get our blade positioned out to this side where the blade is pointing directly out, and then right here you'll see a weld mark on the deck. That is where you want to take your measurement at. Then we'll take our gauge here, go underneath the deck, raise that up until we are touching that blade tip. We are just right at 3, maybe just a touch lower. But the rule of thumb here is we want to be within 1/8 of an inch of our measurement there. So we are within that 1/8 inch measurement here. So next we would go across, go to the other side and check that as well. Now, if we needed to make an adjustment, what we would do here is right here at this linkage here, as you notice, we have a nut on the bottom, and then at the top of this rod, we also have a nut head here. Now this is where our 16 and 17mm wrenches would come into play. Our 17 would go on the bottom here, and then our 16 would go on this top just to hold that in place. Now, what we're doing here is if we need to go up with this deck, what we would do is we would tighten this up or make this go clockwise on this bottom nut while holding our top one in place here at the rod. And if we needed to go down, we would be going counterclockwise, and same thing, still holding here at the top. Now over here on the other side, same thing. We're going to raise our chute up, move our blade to where it is facing right out towards us. Then we'd find that blade tip, take that measurement, and then once we take that measurement, we would make any adjustments necessary. Now it's the same procedure over here on the other side as it was on the previous side. We would have our 16 holding our rod in place right up here, and our 17 at the bottom right here to make any of those necessary adjustments. Once again, if we're needing to go up, this is going to be clockwise to raise it. If we're needing to go down, it's counterclockwise. Now your next step in this procedure, once you have both sides level and you are reading at whatever setting that you set your height at to do this, like I said, I have mine at 3. Once we have both of those sides at 3, now what we need to check for is what we call the amount of rake. So we're looking for our levelness from front to rear. Now the rule of thumb here is, since we're set at 3, where we'd want to be at is 3 in the back, or just a touch over 3 and 1/8, and then at the front we would want to be 2 7/8. That way we have at least 1/4 of an inch. You can be anywhere between 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch lower in the front, and you'll be achieving the right amount of rake. And the reason we do this is you want the front lower so you avoid what we call double cutting. That way those blades are cutting there in the front like they're supposed to, and the back is doing its job. So just make sure that we are checking that. Now to do that, what we would do is spin our blade around to where it is going front to back. Then we would go underneath with our gauge, check our rear, then move here to the front, check that measurement, see what we're reading, And if we need to make adjustments, they will be done here in the front. So to make those adjustments is where our 18mm wrench is going to come into play. And as you see, we have two different rods right here in the front. Now, this will be the same type of adjustment as we had on the sides. If we need to go down, we would turn these nuts counterclockwise, incrementally the same on both sides to lower the front of that deck. And if we needed to raise it, we would go clockwise to tighten them up and raise the front of this deck. Now, leveling your deck can seem like a very tedious and maybe even unnecessary thing to do for your mowers, but I am telling you that making sure that your deck is level is crucial to the cut quality that you'll see from these mowers. That's why we highly encourage that you're doing this throughout the mowing season and before you get started, and even at the end of the mowing season, to ensure that you're getting that cut quality that you would expect all year long. And guys, it's that easy. I hope this video helped you out. I hope you liked this video. If you did, we'd ask that you'd hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel, as that helps us out as well. And also, guys, if you have any other John Deere parts needs, maybe you're in need of that leveling gauge or some of those wrenches, make sure to check us out at 247parts.com. I'll leave that link in the description below. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Who am I kidding? I got another video to do. I can't go mow yet. Hey guys, make sure to go buy your parts right here and subscribe right here.